guys, I'm excited. It's blue box time again. So let's turn this around and take a look at what's in this box from above. It's a happy day on the channel because it's the return of the blue box. Today we're going to look at the Kunwu knives Django, and this thing is just absolutely gorgeous. Let's get the box out of the way and actually start talking about this knife. So this is the second of the Kunwu knives that we've gotten to see on the channel, and they have both been just amazing. I had the Chad, which is more of a workhorse of a knife. This is just a stunner, but it still is functional. Now, right up front, I did not do any heavy cutting with this, so don't expect me to talk about how the edge held up and stuff like that. It does have a really good edge, but this was sent to me specifically to only do some light duty cutting, and that's all that I did. So let's go ahead. We're going to get some specs out of the way, get the boring stuff. We'll do some specs and then some size comparison. Well, sorry about that. My camera cut out right in the middle of that. So what I was saying is right off the bat, we're looking at 7.7 inch overall length. So it's just under 8 inches, 3.2 inch blade on this. Now it's done in Elmax. It's done in a beautiful clip point. This one is in a satin, but this came in several different versions. There was a gray, there was a flat titanium, and there is this textured titanium, which is absolutely beautiful. I love how they did this. Your blade length overall, like I said, 3.2 inches, but you've only got 2.95 inches of cutting edge because it's got this big choil, which I do like, but it does give it a kind of a weird blade to handle ratio. We'll talk about that in a minute. You are looking at a crossbar axis style lock on this that is done beautifully. And your overall weight on this is 4.5 ounces. So it's not real heavy. It's decently balanced. So we're going to take a couple things out for some size comparison. As you guys knew, I use the same 3 knives every time. First knife is, as always, Spyderco PM2, another knife that I love that has a weird blade to handle ratio. And as you can see, tip to tail, this is a little bit shorter than the Spyderco. Your second knife for size comparison is the Benchmade 940, possibly one of, if not the best known knives, most well-known knives on the market. You can see a little bit longer than the 940, but definitely bigger and bulkier. And your final knife for size comparison is the Chris Reeves Sebenza Large 21. You can see tip to tail just a little bit shorter than that. I use these knives because I can tell you the length all day, but it's nice to have a visual reference. So let's get this out of the way and talk about this knife because it is really awesome. So like I said, this knife came to me from one of my paying members. This came shipped directly to me from Kunwu, purchased by one of my paying members. It has to go back to him. So I did not do any heavy cutting with this. I did some light duty cutting. I definitely cut paper. I cut a little bit of cardboard, but I was really careful not to scratch that satin finish. But what I did do was we had purchased some meat at Costco, that some bulk meat, and I cut it up into different portions. So there was some salmon and there was some beef, and I trimmed some fat on the beef before we put it in the vacuum bags and froze it. And this did really, really well. So it does cut well in a real world scenario. Nice and thin behind the edge on this. I love how thin this knife is. Kunwu has got their grinds down. The Chad was perfectly ground. This is done beautifully. Like I said, Elmax steel, which takes an incredible edge at a higher grit. Like this factory edge on this is just flawless. This is a knife I would not sharpen when it showed up. It's got this beautiful clip point profile with a fuller that runs from the aperture all the way into the swedge that you can see they ground the fuller and then ground the swedge on this. And that blade is just beautiful. The overall profile of this knife is absolutely gorgeous. And I know that shouldn't play a part into it because ugly knives can perform better. But I mean, look at it. It is beautiful. The axis bar lock on this is done so well. The addition of these actuators on it, as opposed to just the typical thumb stud looking ones that are on a lot of the axis locks, just makes it so much more tactile and easy to use. The fuller on it, you can get into the fuller or you can get up onto the aperture to get it open. It's not quite a flipper. It's not quite a flipper. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. The texturing on the titanium is beautiful. It is done in a fashion that is tactile. You've got traction there, but it is not aggressive or sharp. In and out of pocket, I had zero issues with it. And the cool thing about this is Kunwu absolutely gives you a second pocket clip. Hang on a second, I'll just grab it. Man, guys, I don't know what's going on my camera today. It cut out again. It just stopped on me. What I was saying is this pocket clip is beautiful, but they also provide you with option of a much more functional pocket clip. I have to admit that these style pocket clips are much, much better. The PMP Big Boy was the one that really brought it to light for me how good those pocket clips are as far as comfort and the fact that they don't scratch things anywhere near as badly as some of the other clips. But this clip is beautiful, and this is just about a perfect clip. In hand, it completely disappears. You don't even notice that pocket clip in hand at all. In and out of pocket, it's nice and smooth. There's no issue with the textured titanium causing a problem. The pocket clip is just got the right amount of tension to keep it in one spot, keep it from walking around. The overall lines of the knife are just beautiful, as you can see, but then you also have their really cool pivots that are engraved. And then you've got, like I said, logo here. You've got a backspace, a lanyard hole here, but on this knife, for some reason, I don't find it as unattractive. I know in the first impressions video, I said I didn't like it, but on this knife, if they had taken that out or done it differently, I think it just would detract from the lines on this knife. I think it looks good on this knife, and I think it's because they brought that milling across and smooth that out, and it just gives it another little facet. It is ambidextrous reversible pocket clip, which is cool because you are dealing with a ambidextrous knife with the axis lock. The axis lock on it is very, very smooth, easy to operate, easy to open and close. It just opens and closes beautifully. And then you've got that big finger choil that you can get up on. And if you had a lock bar in here, I think that would detract from the comfort, and you can get way up on this and you've got really, really good control of this, almost like a skinning blade where you can get up and you could do some small tasks like skinning out a small animal if you needed to. Absolutely one of the most attractive knives I've had on the channel in a very long time. But like I said, still really functional. Now, there's some stuff about it that I don't like, and we're going to have to talk about that. Flip side of the knife, flip side of the story. So let's crack into the not so great stuff. So obviously, the elephant in the room is the blade to handle ratio. It's got a lot of, you've got a lot of knife before you actually get to the important part, which is the edge, which is a little underwhelming. It's not, I mean, I don't know if I don't know how I would change it to make it have more blade. It's a very attractive knife, but the fact is you've got less than 3 inches of cutting surface, which for some people, that's going to be a deal breaker. The next thing is it could have been a little bit lighter. It really could have. They could have went a little bit further on the weight reduction. And instead of using, you can see that they used full steel liners on this to accommodate the access bar lock on here. But the fact is, I've had other knives where it's just in here, and then removing that piece of steel would allow them to, you can see that's a fairly significant, you can see the mill line. Let me see if I can zoom in and focus on that. You can see the line for the liner. That's a fairly thick liner. And being able to reduce the weight on that would have helped a lot. And then the final thing is the way that while I love these actuators, I can't reverse flick it because it hits, like my hand hits on it. And it's got a little bit more tension on it than a lot of the other Axis style lock bars. And it makes it a little bit more difficult to flip it, period. So this is more of a slow roll knife. So if you're looking for something to reverse flick on, this is probably not the, see what I'm saying? It just hits there. And then one final thing, I'm getting really frustrated with this. The camera keeps turning itself off. What I was getting ready to say was this screw is longer than this screw. So when you get ready to do this, you you want to look at what screw you're using for what pocket clip. On this knife, it's not an issue. On the Chad, it was. If you put the screw through, you could actually slam the blade in because the screw would go all the way through. But just keep in mind that this screw is going to be longer than the other screws on the body. So they do provide you with extra screws. So that is a very nice thing. So all in all, I absolutely love this knife. It's not just gorgeous. It is a very functional knife. It's in one of my favorite steels. It is very sharp. And the fact is they were very popular because they're sold out. So I can't really give you guys a link. I'll try to let you guys know when they're coming available. I will put a purchase link that you can kind of track it and see if they're available. But yeah, is this a yup or a nah? I mean, just it's beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful knife. And sometimes that's what us knife guys are looking for. So with that being said, guys, let's turn this around. We'll do some final thoughts and I'll send you out about your day. Yeah, guys, that's it on this. There's a lot of times that I talk about how a knife looks. They still have to be functional. There's times where a knife is not functional but attractive, and it doesn't get a pass. But the fact is, the work that goes into making a knife look good is very important to recognize for the designer. So awesome knife. Check it out. They're not available right now, but there will be a link to Blade HQ where you can troll the site and see when they come available, and at Kunwu Knives. Guys, support the channel if you want. I've got sponsors down below. I know I didn't throw an ad in. Coffee Brand Coffee, Temper Trail, Doll Strong Knives, Coffee Brand Coffee, and Temper Trail have 10% off built into their links. Please try the coffee. It's amazing. I would not steer you wrong. I love coffee. I've got a discount code that will save you 10% at KATSU Knives, 10% at Rosecraft Blades, 10% at Fair & Forge Knife Works, and 40% at Beyond EDC Knives. I've got links to most of the major vendors down below. Those support the channel as well, and an Amazon store. Take those links, any of the shopping you're gonna do, please use those links. It supports the channel, and it doesn't cost you anything at checkout. There's a public Discord down below where you can get a hold of me if you want through the DM section. If you've got stuff that you want to send into the channel or questions about something you saw on the channel, it's the best way to get a hold of me because I don't pay attention to a lot of the comments. There's just too many on a daily basis. And I have a paid membership down below where you can get on exclusive content. You can get in on giveaways that I do. There's a premium sharpening tutorial series and a private Discord for those guys. So guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video.